Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Wrestling vs. the World podcast. Y'all enjoying your day? Sweet. If not, then what the hell ever. So, work has been a little iffy as of the time of this recording, so I thought, why not get a WrestleMania review slash throwback to kind of fill the time, because we're getting into WrestleMania season by now. So I wanted to go back and remember WrestleMania 24. If you've been on the channel, you probably have already seen the... Maybe you have. Maybe you've seen the PSP UMD video where I revealed that, hey, the only pay-per-view in WWE history to be released on a PSP UMD is WrestleMania 24, and thankfully I have it. But I wanted to go over this show because it's always been held in such high regard, and we're going to remember why. So, there were 9 main card matches on the main card, and 1 pre-show match. You could get it on DVD, and I believe... I don't know remember if WWE Vault has uploaded this, but I know that the video's out there. But before the official pay-per-view began, there's a 24-man Battle Royal. Winner gets a shot at the ECW Championship later on, which I'll also kind of bring up an issue that I have with. But this overall match, you had Deuce, Domino, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Stevie Richards, Elijah Burke, The Miz, Shannon Moore, Jimmy Wang Yang, Jesse, Sean Morley, we know who I'm referring to there, Trevor Murdoch, Festus, the Brian Kendrick, Lance Cade, Kofi Kingston, Cody Rhodes, who is one half of the World Tag Team Champions, with Hardcore Holly, who is also in this match, Jamie Noble, Chuck Palumbo, the Great Khali, Tommy Dreamer, Snitsky, Kane, and Mark Henry. And Kane would end up winning this match in almost 6.5 minutes. And like I said, that means he's getting a shot at the ECW Championship. But we'll get to that in just a moment. Now, opening match, you had the Belfast Brawl. JBL versus Finlay, because this was originally started because of the whole Vince McMahon illegitimate child storyline. Hey, Vince, you can't keep it in your pants. Now you got a WWE superstar who's your kid here. And it was supposed to have been Mr. Kennedy being revealed that, because they wanted to do something with Vince after the whole Benoit tragedy, canceling the limo explosion storyline that happened during the summer. So Mr. Kennedy got suspended when he was supposed to be revealed as Vince's son, so they decided, oh, damn it, let's go with Hornswoggle, it'll be funny. Well, it wasn't really that funny because, a bad turn there. But then as we got into 2008, it was revealed by JBL that, hey, Hornswoggle's not really your son, Vince. He's Finlay's son. And it turned out that Finlay confirmed, yes, that is true. Like, my name is Finlay, and I love to fight, and all that other nonsense. But saying that, like, it was essentially Vince's family went along with it to blackmail him, I guess, in a way, which is a little weird. So this absolved Vince out of the storyline, and now JBL, he's in this because then he also helped kick Hornswoggle's ass while Hornswoggle was in a steel cage match against Vince, and then also while he was in a hospital. So the match, solid for what it was. The only moment you probably remember best was when JBL just took the freaking trash can and chucked it at Hornswoggle, just be like, Michael! But solid overall match to open. It feels weird that Finlay would lose a match that's technically named like kind of like a specialty for him. Like, I know Belfast Brawl is essentially another term for like a street fight. We have these notice DQ-esque matches, just same concept, different names. But you would think a Belfast Brawl is going to be in his favor. Like, if memory serves me correctly, didn't he beat Mark Henry later on that year in Armageddon in a Belfast Brawl? But yeah, JBL beats Finlay at his own game. Still a solid match regardless. Now you get the Money in the Bank ladder match. This was supposed to have had Jeff Hardy in here, but he got suspended and had to lose the Intercontinental Championship to Chris Jericho due to a wellness policy violation for the second time. So now instead, it's John Morrison, Carlito, Chris Jericho, Mr. Kennedy, Shelton Benjamin, MVP, and CM Punk. And we all know the concept by now. You climb the ladder, grab the briefcase. You have 1 year to that day to cash in your contract to get a world title shot. Then and there, just need a referee present. So this was also as highly regarded as one of the best Money in the Bank ladder matches of all time, as well as WrestleMania 21. Like, you saw some insane moments. You saw Shelton getting flung off one ladder through a bridging ladder towards the hard camera. John Morrison, he did a moonsault off the top rope with the ladder in hand, which is absolutely fantastic, the fact that he could hold on to that. You saw a Triple Tower of Doom that took on Mr. Kennedy. MVP got taken out. He was U.S. champion because Matt Hardy, who was returning back from a knee injury, came in and caused MVP part of the match. And CM Punk would end up winning this one because he trapped Chris Jericho's leg between some of the rungs of the ladder and retrieved the briefcase. And originally, like I said, that was supposed to be Jeff Hardy's spot, but nope. Jeff took something he shouldn't have. And like I said, this was a great Money in the Bank ladder match. Always really, it's not easy to have a bad version of this match. Some might be lackluster, but these matches always bring out some of the best moments you'll see in ladder matches. Especially, like I said, especially with Multi-Man. Now, the next match that ended up being completely pointless. The Battle for Brand Supremacy, Umaga versus Batista. Raw versus SmackDown. Essentially, this match was just done because they had no real plan set in stone for either man in terms of what to do for WrestleMania. It's just let's face it, when was the last time the Brand Supremacy tagline actually meant anything afterwards? They never followed up on this afterwards, saying oh, SmackDown's better than Raw because Batista kicked Umaga's ass. Because that's what we had here. Batista beat Umaga. Batista ended up falling over while trying to execute the Batista bomb. I even saw the OVW4 over on Twitter saying, talking about this, and I was just you know what they should have done? Have the setup be kind of similar to what we saw with Triple H Undertaker from WrestleMania 17. Pounding into the corner, next boom, powerbomb. Just go for the finish, because then you wouldn't have had Batista trying to lift up Umaga and essentially losing his balance there, so it probably would have been an easier way to try to make the move look a little more smoothly. But yeah, Batista won, 7 minutes on Umaga. But like I said, this was the case where it's just it felt like these guys had nothing going on for them in the storyline, so it's just we'll put you two together, and the reason is because Battle of Brand Supremacy, which, like I said, it means nothing. The only time Brand Supremacy meant anything for these kind of matches was when you had the bragging rights pay-per-view because, hey, there's a trophy to win. So at least there's a prize. Okay? Now you get to this one. Chavo Guerrero, the ECW champion, defending the ECW championship against Kane. Think about this for one moment. Okay? The ECW brand was brought back in 2006. And it was finally closed in early 2010. So we had 3 WrestleManias that happened with the ECW Championship being active, and this is the only one of those 3 where the title is actually defended. Because the year prior, it was Bobby Lashley as ECW Champion, but he did not defend it because he was facing Umaga with the whole Battle of the Billionaires thing. The next year, Jack Swagger was holding the championship, but yet he was a lumberjack in the tag team dark match for Carlito and Primo against John Morrison and The Miz to unify the tag titles. So it's just we finally have the ECW title on the line, and it ends in 11 seconds because Kane appears from behind, to surprise Chavo instead of just coming down the aisleway. Chokeslam, boom. 11 seconds, new champion. It's that should just show what they think of the ECW Championship. Because, like I said, one WrestleMania title defense, and it ends in one of the shortest matches in WrestleMania history. I still can't wrap my head around this. I know this wasn't the end of Chavo's career. I mean, his downfall wouldn't really happen until the Hornswoggle feud the next year, but it's just this did not do him any justice, and he also failed to even beat Kane in the follow-up at Backlash for, getting his contractual rematch. But yeah, this was just, I can't fathom what they were thinking there. Now this one, the career-threatening match, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair. Ever since Ric came back in the fall of 2007, it was announced that he will never retire, but then Vince put the stipulation saying the next time you, Ric Flair, you lose a match, your career is over. And it was later clarified that it only applies to singles matches, and it can end in any way possible. Pinfall, submission, disqualification, or count out. If he loses a one-on-one match, his career is over. And Flair, he had been beating all the guys I've talked about with his own episode of the podcast, but he went through guys like Triple H, Umaga, Randy Orton, MVP, Mr. Kennedy, and Rick, right around the time he was announced to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, he decided, hey, Shawn Michaels, I want to face you at WrestleMania. And Shawn was hesitant because, he's being asked to face his idol and potentially have that burden on his back of possibly ending his career. And, I love that build that they did to this, because, the whole thing of bringing out the NWA Championship, Flair getting heated because Shawn referred to him as Old Yeller, brought up that whole story and everything. So it's this had a lot going for it. And yeah, we know the stipulation did not last because Rick would come out of retirement several times after this, especially starting with the Hulkamania tour that happened in Australia and then TNA. But this would be his last WWE match. So, like, he did stick with this, like he said, the next night for his retirement speech. But this match was absolutely fantastic. Match of the night. I did the whole 5-star episode of the podcast. This match is one of those that I would give 5 stars to. The action was fantastic. The drama, the emotion, the storytelling was spot on for all this. And just that conclusion. Like, Flair was put in his own figure 4 leg lock, distracted the referee by removing the bottom turnbuckle pad before poking Shawn in the eye to break the hold. Trading chops so they get back to their feet, but then Shawn gets a close angle sweet chin music. Gets to the corner, and he's starting to tune up the band, but then he stops. He realizes, oh no, it's it. And then as Ric Flair gets up, and he's like, come on, give it to me. And then Shawn's just like, I'm sorry, I love you. Boom, one more hit, and out goes Ric Flair. So yeah, even though he didn't keep with the career-threatening storyline, because again, he would wrestle elsewhere, this was his last WWE match, and it was a fantastic match, like, hands down. Now, you get to this one, next match, the Playboy Bunny Mania Lumberjill match. Maria was supposed to have teamed with Candice Michelle to go against Beth Phoenix and Melina, but shortly after, like, if you remember the year prior, Candice Michelle broke her clavicle in a match against Beth Phoenix in a 2-out-of-3 falls match on Raw. She came back from injury, and she quickly got re-injured again. I think it was actually, she injured herself worse than the last time. Shortly after she came back, so now Ashley took Maria's spot. So tag team match, typical lumberjack like rules there with the divas around the ringside. And during part of the match, the lights went out. Thankfully not to the degree we saw in Your House Beware of Dog, thankfully. But Beth and Melina would defeat Maria and Ashley. And Santino, like, he was at odds with Maria because the whole thing of Maria doing Playboy, and then Santino got the confrontation during this after the match with Snoop Dogg. Pretty weird stuff. But I mean, it was there. Kind of a shame you didn't have a women's title match on this show, but it's whatever. Because I believe Beth was champion going into this one, if memory serves me correctly. Now the next one, the Triple Threat WWE Championship match. Randy Orton defending the championship against Triple H and John Cena. Randy, they tried saying storyline. He's the reason why Cena was injured in October 2007. He became WWE champion in his absence, lost to Triple H, and then won it back. And then he was just going on this tear of taking out Triple H and Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho and Jeff Hardy. Then you also get to the Royal Rumble and everything just goes crazy because Cena makes his unannounced return from injury far faster than expected, wins the Royal Rumble, and he cashes in his title opportunity at No Way Out. But Orton, thinking smartly, gets himself intentionally disqualified by slapping the referee to keep the championship. Well, Triple H on that same show, in No Way Out, he won the Elimination Chamber match to become the #1 contender to get a title shot. But Cena also had a right to want a rematch and everything, because, hey, Randy took the cheap way out, and Cena eventually got added to the match. I believe he won a match to gain entry to here. So we got a triple threat. Randy defending the title against Triple H and John Cena. Really good triple threat. I believe everybody's been in agreement from like all the reviews I've seen. Everybody says it was really good. And nobody expected Randy to walk out as champion because that's always the thing. You have the doubt because the odds are not in the champion's favor. But Triple H, he get the pedigree on Cena. And then Randy punted Triple H in the head. And then I believe, if memory serves me correctly, Randy pinned Cena to retain the title. So that was a shocker there. But then we would see even the next night, Triple H would no-sell really the effects of the punt because of the whole Ric Flair retirement thing and kayfabe being thrown out the window. Thankfully, not to the degree of the MSG incident. But yeah, really good match. Like I said, nobody really expected Randy to retain, but surprisingly he did. Then you get to this weird one. Big Show versus Floyd Money Mayweather in what would be a no disqualification match. Boxer versus Giant. Big Show, he had been gone since shortly after December 2006, because he lost the ECW Championship in the Extreme Elimination Chamber match, lost rematch, and he would be gone for over a year, trying to work on his health and everything, and departing from WWE. He did have at least one match outside WWE, maybe some more. Like, I know there was like one match he had against Hogan, but then he came back No Way Out 2008, and he was actually noticeably thinner. But he seemed to be a babyface, then he turned heel attacking Rey Mysterio, who was legit dealing with, I believe it was a bicep injury. So then in comes Floyd Money Mayweather to the rescue, and he legit breaks Big Show's nose, like with a few like left and right hands. I know some people have been confused about that. It's like, oh, is this real? Yeah, but it's because Big Show pretty much told Floyd before they were doing the segment, like, hey, actually break my nose. Let's make this real. But despite the fact that Floyd Mayweather was essentially the babyface and Big Show was the heel, the crowd gave the exact opposite reactions here. Like, I know Floyd Mayweather is not the most popular guy, but it's just like, it's hard to really cheer Big Show because one moment you cheer him, next thing you know, he turns heel again because he turns more times than I do in my sleep. But they give the no disqualification match, and Floyd swore he was going to break Big Show's jaw. And this was a solid match. You don't see a lot of, like, quality, like, matches involving celebrities on pay-per-view in WWE history. But it was solid. Floyd having to use, like, kick Big Show in the nuts, which so many people have done to counter chokeslam, chair shots, and brass knuckles right to the jaw, knocks Big Show out, and Floyd Mayweather wins. I mean, like, that was... I think that actually worked, because that's the only way you're going to have somebody the size of Floyd Mayweather being able to defeat the Big Show. He has to use weapons. I know Floyd Mayweather, like, has been regarded as one of the best boxers of all time, but when you look at this dynamic of, like, comparing their sizes and everything, and strength and all these other factors, it only made sense for Floyd to win under those circumstances. But still a solid match. Now you get to the main event. Edge defending the World Heavyweight Championship against The Undertaker. So Edge, he had been world champion since Armageddon 2007, which was a month after he came back, because he stopped The Undertaker from winning the World Heavyweight title at Survivor Series from Batista inside Hell in a Cell. But then Edge won in triple threat against both of those men at Armageddon. You had the whole Edge head stuff, like with Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder joining along him. Then you also had Vicky Guerrero romance going on. La Familia, Chavo, and Bam Neely, a name people probably don't remember. But Edge, he would still walk into WrestleMania as World Heavyweight Champion, and Undertaker, in No Way Out, he would win the other Elimination Chamber match, different than the one that Triple H won, to get the World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania. Now, if memory serves me correctly, I believe they were trying to stay in the build. Edge was trying to proclaim himself as being undefeated at WrestleMania. Technically, no, because you were part of the Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania 23, and you did not win that one. I mean, I know you weren't there up until the very end of the match, because himself and Jeff got taken out of the match because of the whole spot where Jeff jumped off a ladder and drove Edge through a bridging ladder, so they got taken out before the match could conclude, but technically, you did not win that match. Now, in terms of, like, actually taking a fall or anything in WrestleMania, it's true, he had not done so, because, like, this is going back to WrestleMania 16. It's like, you had the Triangle Ladder match, TLC at 17, the Shampoo feud with Booker at 18, Money in the Bank 21, and 22 you had the hardcore match against Mick Foley, so now Edge is going against The Undertaker here, and Undertaker, he was still undefeated at WrestleMania. Dead man walking. And speaking of walking, it took The Undertaker forever to walk to the ring. Because I believe, if memory serves me correctly, this was like the longest Undertaker entrance ever going to the ring here at this show. And Edge, I believe, like, he was getting overcome with emotions and everything because he realizes he's main eventing the show, having Vicky out there and, like, with a wheelchair and everything. And this, overall, was another fantastic match. Like, a lot of us remember specific, like, WrestleMania main events. We remember Shawn and Undertaker from 26, because of how amazing it was. We remember the lackluster one for Randy Orton and Triple H from 25. Yeah, you remember Austin and Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 14, stuff like that. But not a whole lot of people really remember Undertaker Edge very well. But like I said, this was a fantastic match. Solid overall match, like back and forth. The Edge heads try to get involved in everything, but to no avail. I remember even in the build, Edge tried to play mind games with The Undertaker by giving the tombstone. I think it was to Funaki in one match on SmackDown. Thank goodness he delivered it safely. But like, he was trying to get in the head of the Phenom. Didn't work. And afterward, at the end, The Undertaker, like, at one point, Undertaker did give Edge the tombstone. And you get that whole thing of Charles Robinson just sprinting down the long aisleway. Really showed how long it took to get there. You could have just used a cart to go there and save yourself legwork. And Edge actually kicked out of the tombstone. I believe, like, if memory serves me correctly, that was like the first time we had seen somebody kick out of the tombstone out of WrestleMania, probably since 17. I know Triple H survived that there, and Kane survived 3 of them at 14. but I believe it was the first time in a while where somebody's actually survived the tombstone there. But they protected it, like, long time for the pin and everything. But at the end, Edge got put in the Hell's Gate and tapped out. So The Undertaker wins via submission, new World Heavyweight Champion to close WrestleMania. But that's probably not the only thing people remember the closing of WrestleMania for, because there was the pyro fireworks incident. Because some kind of cable snapped during the pyro celebration for The Undertaker and went off into the audience. Thankfully, nobody was severely injured. There were people that had to go to the hospital or anything to get checked up on, make sure like they might have had some small burns, if memory served me correctly. Last I checked, they never even, like, they said they were launching an investigation of that and they never followed up on it. But I know that was a bit of a scary situation, but still a fantastic way to close the show with Undertaker as World Heavyweight Champion there. So yeah, that, like, everybody has a good reason not to think highly of the show. Like I said, the Belfast Brawl was really solid for an opener. Money in the Bank ladder match still holds up as being a really great match. Batista Umaga, we could have done without because it was ultimately pointless. I wish they could have found some other storylines to go with for here. King Chavo, we could have done without because, like I mentioned before, with the state of the ECW Championship and the brand. Shawn Ric Flair was amazing. The women's tag match, it was fine. Triple threat match for the WWE Championship was really good and an unexpected outcome there. Floyd Big Show worked, and Undertaker Edge was a fantastic main event. Definitely recommended. So, do I recommend WrestleMania 24 myself? Of course. You wouldn't hear me praising it like that if I didn't say that it was actually worth it. If you've never seen WrestleMania 24 before, you're missing out because you've seen some amazing stuff here. I almost even forgot. John Cena even had another great entrance here, like with the marching band and everything playing during his entrance. Really nice touch there for like his own custom entrance there. But anyway, let me know what y'all thought in the comment section below. What did y'all think about WrestleMania 24? And, like, do you rank it as, like, being one of the best WrestleManias of all time? I think it's, like, in their contention. It's not the best. I still say 17 is the best. But it ranks up there as being, like, one of the most critically acclaimed WrestleManias, and rightfully so by critics and fans alike. Definitely one of the best. So, let me know what y'all thought in the comment section below. If you enjoyed today's episode of the podcast, folks, please remember, leave a like, subscribe with the bell, turn on here on YouTube, comment what you thought below. And I'll catch you all next time, everybody. Thanks for listening, folks. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, and good day, everybody.